Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will see what is out of sequence and preemption transaction. First, we will learn about out of sequence transaction and then we will go for a preemption. For this, right, first we will see theoretical and then we'll see in the practical. So, out of sequence and preemption, I have asked a question to ChatGPT. Let's see the theoretical answer. So, out of sequence is a transaction when user tries to make a change to a policy at an effective date that is earlier than other changes. So let's take an example. We have a submission effective from January 1st and user performed one policy change transaction effective from March 1st where user added a vehicle and they performed one more transaction effective from June 1st. So there user added one more driver or else there is a changes to the driver. Now user is trying to create an policy change. We can call endorsement as also a policy change. So don't confuse between policy change and endorsement, both are same only. So if user now tries to create a endorsement effective from 1st February, that is out of sequence. Why 1st March and 1st June are not out of sequence? Because those are in sequence: January, March, June. Now we are performing a transaction effective from February 1st. That is not with respect to sequence. It is an out of sequence because it is a date before the already applied changes. See, we can see there are some changes effective from the March 1st and June 1st. Now we are performing a transaction from the 1st February. That's why we call it as a out of sequence. So how guideware will handle? So in for rating point, right, we already seen in previous videos. I'll keep that video in the I button. And coming to this reapplying subsequent endorsement, these things we will see practically how the conflict also will come if there is any overlapping changes comes. And coming to preemption, we will see later of this video. First we will see out of sequence in real time. For this I am logging in my local host with SU and GW. So I'm going to the policy which we created earlier. So taking a copy submission, quoting the policy, issuing it now. So this policy is effective from October 3rd. Now I'm performing a change policy. Let me go 1 month. Okay. Changing vehicle color. Click on next. So we are performing a policy change. We can say policy change which is in the draft status. Vehicle, it was tan. I will change it to green. So effective from 11/3. Quote the policy. Issue it. Now I'll perform one more policy change effective from before 11/3. So I'll make it as a 15th October. Again, I'll change vehicle color. Yeah. If you click on next, see guideware is showing this is an out of sequence. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. If I go vehicles, it is showing tan, but we change it to is it green? I think so. We change it to green. Let me go polls review. Yeah, we change it to green in the previous transaction, but we are seeing it as tan still in the out of sequence because we are performing policy change on 10/3 period, not on the 11/3. As soon as we create a policy change effective from 10/15, right, the based on period will be submission, not the policy change. That's why we saw it is a tan. Now I will change it to red. Let's see how guideware will behave. See, it is showing there are out of sequence conflicts that must be resolved prior to coding. Please visit the policy review screen and resolve the conflicts. We changed vehicle color in the future dated transaction effective from 11/3. Again, I changed vehicle color effective from 10/15 also, even out of sequence also, I am changing the same color. So this color is conflicting the future policy change. That's why it is throwing conflicts error. So let's go to policy review. Policy review is nothing but this one. If I go change conflict, see it is showing from effective from 10/15, it is red. The change conflict effective from 11.3, it was green. Do you need to override or no? In this situation, let's see override as yes, and in other policy change, we will mark it as no. Okay, I am overriding my conflict. That means this red will be effective from 11.3 also. So if you are overriding, click on override as yes and submit it. Okay. See in the difference also we can see effective from 11.3 it was green. Now it is changed to red. It was tan, changed to red now, and it was green in for future data policy change, but we have overridden, it is changed to red. Quoting the policy and issuing it. Will that value changes over here? It will not, because this branch is already locked. It might show here it as green, but if we perform policy change effective from 11.3 again, right? Change policy and 11.3 next vehicles. See, it is changed to red because we overridden in the out of sequence. So quote it. Yeah. So this situation we saw override as yes. Let's see override as no. I'm taking copy submission, quoting the policy, issuing it, and then performing a policy change. I'll effective from 11.3. Same scenario we will perform here also. I'll change color to green and quote it. I'm issuing. Now I'm performing out of sequence transaction effective from 10:15. Yeah, it is throwing pop-up as well. I'm going to vehicles, change it to red. If I click on quote, yeah, it is throwing out of sequence. Go to policy review, and now I'll mark it as no. So don't override future slice. Effective from 10:15 to 11:3, mark it as red, and from 11:3 to keep as usual green. Submitting it. See, now we are not seeing one more slice related policy review. Earlier we saw quoting the policy and issuing it. So let me perform policy change effective from 11.3, whether the value is overridden or not, because we have not overridden. I am going to vehicle. See, it is green. This is how guidewire will behave during out of sequence. So if you are modifying specific to one field, right, it will throw conflict. Instead of that, if you add one more vehicle, in that cases, it will not throw any conflict. This is nothing but out of sequence. Now the question is, can out of sequence, in this case, we saw only policy changes as out of sequence. Can be other transaction out of sequence? Yes, we can have other transactions also out of sequence except renewal. So if I perform cancellation, I'll keep it as test. See, it is 10.3. If I click on start cancel, see this start cancellation is also out of sequence. So future we have 10:15 and 11:3. So there can be transaction cancellation, policy change, reinstatement, rewrite. So these can be out of sequence except new terms like renewal and submission. Even rewrite new term, rewrite full term, reinstatement can be out of sequence. Let me issue it. We can show you now. If I perform reinstatement, this is also an out of sequence. See, we can see out of sequence transaction. Let me withdraw it. That's fine. It's already withdrawn because that's a mandatory field. That's why it is showing. Let me perform rewrite remainder of term. See, this is also out of sequence because there were future transactions exist. Let me withdraw it. Let's perform rewrite new term. This is also an out of sequence except submission and renewals, right? Except these two transactions, any transaction can be performed as a OOS. It's not only with the policy changes, not only with cancellations, even subsequent transactions like rewrites, reinstatements can be a out of sequence. So out of sequence is a transaction where effective date will be before the already applied changes. in real time, right? We can see plenty of out of sequence issues and plenty of transactions. So this is out of sequence. Now let's learn about preemptions. If I am going little bit faster, right? So so sorry, but yeah, reduce the speed of the video. We can change from 1 to 0.75 as well. If I am going slow, please increase it to 1.25 or 1.5 speed. And coming to preemption. Preemption also a transaction where two transactions are open, and if you issue one transaction, automatically other transaction will be preempted. Let's see what ChatGPT is telling. Preemption occurs when two users or processor try to modify the same policy at the same time, or when a changes is made to the policy that was already changed by another transaction. So user A starts editing an endorsement. So endorsement is nothing but a policy change. So let's suppose user A is creating one policy change. Before issuing the before they finish, that means before issuing this policy change, user B makes another policy change. User B makes and complete a different change. That means user B is creating one more policy change and they are issuing also. But by this time this A is not issued. So as soon as we issue this policy change, user A policy change will be preempted. Let's see what actually it is trying to say. Let me take a copy submission and quoting the policy, issue it. So we created one policy change. I'm creating one more policy change effective from 11/3. Go to the vehicles and let me change it to green. Quote it. Okay. Do not issue this. Let's keep as usual. Let it be open. So there is one policy change which is open. It is not completed. Completed means it is not issued. That's why it is throwing one warning message. But I'm not caring that. Going with 11.7, go to vehicles, change it to red, quote it. Yes, we have two policy changes. Both are open. Let me issue a policy change effective from 11.3. See, as soon as we issue, we can see a policy change is preempted. This policy change is preempted to another policy change. So this is preemption. As soon as we click on that message, right, your policy change is preempted by another policy change. Now we need to handle these preemptions. So handling preemption is nothing but we need to click on the handle preemption. See, we are not going to see this edit button, issue button, except handle preemption and withdraw. Either we need to handle the preemption or else we need to withdraw it. So let's handle it. We can get here apply changes or else withdraw. If we withdraw, this policy will be withdrawn. Let's click on withdraw. See, we can see policy will be withdrawn. So no need. Okay, apply all changes. We changed the color. We changed it from tan to red over there. Here it was green. Now as we handled it, it came it as a red. So let me take one more copy submission. Now we changed colors, right? Let's add few vehicles. Change policy effective from 11/4. I'll add a vehicle, create vehicle. I'll go to random win website, getting some random win number. Let me provide here. Let's enter some cost new California one driver. Yeah, this is fine. Quoting the policy. Let it keep open because we need to preempt it. And one more change policy 11/7 vehicles. Let me add one more vehicle going random win number win, yeah, California, adding a driver and quoting the policy, and let me issue this policy change. So if we see your policy change is preempted, but this is out of sequence. So this policy change became out of sequence because the policy change which I have issued effective from 11/7. This is 11/4. If I handle preemption also, I'll not be able to see over here. If I go vehicle, see, I'll not be able to see because that policy change, the whatever vehicle we added over there, right? That is effective from future. But we can see vehicle number is changed to 3 because future vehicle. If we change here from 11/4 to 11/7, right? We can see all three because first we added vehicle from the future. That's why the current policy change VIN number, sorry, vehicle number is 3. Future one is 2. See, and now we can issue it. Is this only with policy changes? See, it is not only with the policy changes, any transactions which are open. Let me create a cancellation. Should, mm, yeah, after 11/7, I'll mark. Let me go to 11/8, start cancellation. Yes, and now perform a change policy effective from, yeah, 12/5. Quote it. Let's go and issue cancellation. Let's see what happens. I think policy change. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, this policy change became preempted now. If I apply changes, 10/3. Yeah, let me issue it. Let's create one more policy change. Let's create a reinstatement. Yeah, let's quote it. Let's perform a policy change. This is cancelled from 11/8. Before that, we can have it. Next, quote it, issue it. See, now reinstatement is preempted. So any transactions, either policy change, reinstatement, anything. If two transactions are open, if you issue one policy change, then automatically other policy transaction will be preempted. This is nothing but preemption. So we saw both preemption as well as out of sequence, preemption plus out of sequence. If you are issuing a future dated policy change, then backdated policy change will become out of sequence as well as preemption. So this is nothing but a preemption and out of sequence. If you have any questions, right, feel free to ask in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Let's meet in the next video.